Hello everyone, I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films and are aghast at the cost of hard drives right now. I know what's causing it, you don't have to tell me, but it is like almost double what it was last year. And, we have a lot of films, but we also have a lot of hard drives where we keep the files when we scan the films that we share with you. So I have to go through and see what hard drives I have that I can consolidate, so I don't have to spend $1,200 for a 24 terabyte drive. Anyways, let's look back at the good old days when bookworms had wings. Enjoy.
Have you ever met a bookworm? They're happy little creatures, often found in libraries, and though each is different, they usually seem to be all eyes and full of questions. Oh, and another thing. Bookworms can go through books with the greatest of ease. Bookworms can go through books with the greatest of ease, except when they temporarily bump into something that brings out the questioning part of their nature.
Humanities? What's that? Humanities?
Bookworms seldom let questions go unanswered.
The humanities. 1. Languages and literature. 2. The branches of learning concerned with human thought and relations as distinguished from the sciences, especially literature, history, the fine arts, and philosophy. Okay, so we're gonna go into reading in the humanities. Reading in history, literature, and the fine arts. Come on, kids, follow me.
And he gave that big bear such a terrible look that the bear started trembling. He shook and he shook. Ah me, the bear blubbered. Oh, what can I do? Must I die just because of one eyelash too few? Oh, how can I get one more eyelash to grow? Well, smiled the rabbit. It happens, I know, of a way you might do it. You're standing, you see, right under a zinniga-zanniga tree.
What's that?
Hmm?
Whatever you said, a zinniga-zanniga tree.
Oh, I don't know yet, and we'll never find out if you keep stopping me. Where was I?
Bookworms aren't always cartoon characters. People who like to read are also called bookworms. And it's tiresome when a bookworm has to stop his happy progress to explain that if you keep going and keep your eyes open, the book being read usually gives you the answer. Of course, people like you know that. It's people like this who can't read at all, or not as well as you do, who don't know that reading Dr. Seuss requires you to keep your eyes open in a special kind of way. Open for fun and surprises.
I'll read that part over about a zinniga-zanniga tree. Now, the flowers of this tree have some wonderful juices that doctors have put to some wonderful uses.
A real bookworm doesn't bore his way through every page at the same speed. He may buzz through a funny poem such as this, where all he wants is the main idea. And slow his reading down closer to a crawl when he wants to get not only the main idea, but the details as well. If he's reading his history lesson, for example.
The United States began as a weak little country. The big European nations showed little respect for it. In the 1800s, the United States grew strong and prosperous. I'd better remember that detail. In the 1800s, we started to grow. The 1800s.
Real bookworms adjust their reading speed to the difficulty of the material. Some things we read are as light and airy as bubbles, demanding little from us, although they may leave vivid impressions of beauty or action. While other books are more like lead balloons. It takes real effort to master them, but our struggles are rewarded because this weighty stuff helps us develop our store of knowledge. To raise ourselves to new levels, we must grasp the fact that different subjects demand different efforts. Different purposes call for different skills. For example, books, like people, have peculiarities in the kind of language they use and the way they use it.
This shoe is constructed for comfort as well as for looks, and it has a built-in support for the arch.
As you go off the board and on your forward roll, go immediately into your arch.
On each one of the arches, we'll find that a bearing weight of 2,000 tons is supported by each arch.
Start through, then a right and left through, and turn them right around and pass through. Split them in two, make a line of 4. Go up to the middle and back. Pass through, arch in the middle and the ends turn in.
What are you boys up to? Why those arch smiles?
Happy birthday, Mommy.
Oh, thank you.
Let's you and I play like we're super spies, and he's our arch enemy, the Rattler.
Did you notice something? All these people used the word arch, each in a different way. But because you picked up clues from the way they were dressed or their surroundings, you adjusted to the differences in language so you could understand them. Maybe you couldn't understand everything the engineer said.
Bearing weight of 2,000 tons is supported by each arch.
But you knew what he was talking about. You adjusted to his technical language. He talked about the weight supported by an arch.
This shoe is constructed for comfort as well as for looks, and it has a built-in support for the arch.
On the other hand, the shoe saleswoman talked about support for an arch, but the situation gave you clues as to what each meant.
What are you boys up to? Why those arch smiles?
Just as the situation here gave you a clue as to what an arch smile might be.
Let's you and I play like we're super spies, and he's our arch enemy, the Rattler.
And a different situation gave you a clue as to the meaning of the phrase arch enemy. If you can make the same kinds of adjustment to the language of books as you have just made to the language of people, you're on your way to becoming one of those happy creatures, a real bookworm. You'll go through your reading in the humanities with more ease than you may have thought possible. Let's return to one of the subjects in the humanities, history. Our assignment is to read chapter 15. We know that when we read history, we must get the main ideas, but we must also look for details. And right away, the clues start supplying both. The chapter heading gives us the main idea, the growth of our country west to the Pacific. The picture supplies a clue to the time, covered wagon days. The subheadings tell us where we are in the West. And the maps show us. History books are written in such a way that when we put the main ideas and the details together, we can come up with cause-effect relationships, the what and the why. Our country expanded west to the Pacific. That's what happened. Now, why?
In the South, cotton planters filled in the open spaces in Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. From Mississippi, many crossed over into Arkansas and established plantations. Moved to Arkansas for more land.
That's one reason why we went west, for more land. Since there's much more in the chapter, there may be more reasons. You must look for them. Look for the cause and effect relationships when you read history. It takes time to find cause-effect relationships, so you must adjust the speed of your reading to give yourself that time. When you read in another of the humanities, poetry, do you adjust to the language so that you can see pictures in your mind as you read? You should.
By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled, here once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard round the world. The foe long since
Poetry gets ideas across by creating images in your mind, mental pictures of things you may or may not have seen, but because of the poetic language, you see them for the first time, or in new ways. Take the first line. By the rude bridge that arched the flood. There's that word arch again. Why did the poet Emerson use it? He used it to give us the right kind of picture. In our mind's eye, we're supposed to see a bridge. Is this the right kind of bridge? No, it isn't arched. Ah, that's better. This bridge arches over a flood, if we can call that little trickle a flood. But let's read on. Their flag to April's breeze unfurled. In rainy April, little streams carry more water and trees have leaves. We know from the April clue to change the picture, to include the idea that the stream is flooded by April rains and the rest of the area looks like spring. That's better. But what's this about a flag? Well, if our mental image must have a flag in it, let's put one in, while we read on to see if we can come up with unfurlers of the flag. Here once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard round the world. Farmers, the poet said, not soldiers, but farmers with guns. And now we get the right picture. The Minutemen by Concord Bridge firing the first shots in the American Revolution, declaring a spirit of independence that would sweep around the world. Using poetic language, the poet helped us get a vivid picture of the time, the place, the people, and the importance of an event, all in a few lines. It may have taken the poet Emerson hours, weeks, months to choose the best words to give us the right mental picture. He took the time. When you read poetry, any poetry, take the time to see the pictures. Fortunately for you, they are easier to see than they are to create. That's why Emerson is called a great writer. He and other writers such as Shakespeare, Robert Louis Stevenson, and Mark Twain had great talent, and they took a great deal of care in writing, so that you, in turn, can enjoy the great pleasures to be found in literature, whether it's poetry or adventure stories, and so that you can learn about the great ideas and great events of mankind through reading in the other areas of the humanities, history, philosophy, and the fine arts. If you aren't exactly a bookworm already, begin now to use some of a bookworm's tricks, making yourself all eyes and full of questions, looking always for the main idea, adjusting your progress so that you can pick up the details when you read history, putting the main ideas and details together to discover cause and effect relationships. Let your mind paint the pictures that poets have written into poetry, and follow the clues that the pictures, situations, and people you meet in literature give you to help you understand and appreciate what you read. Some books will still be dry, but there are so many juicy, delicious things to find in print that a dedicated reader can always enjoy a wonderful feast reading in the humanities.
Come on, kids. Follow me.
So it's clear to me that a bookworm is actually some sort of larva, and it goes through in a cocoon. After it devours books, there's a cocoon, and then it becomes some sort of fly. Really annoying fly. that's the gist of what I got about this. And if I watched this film as a kid, you better believe that's what I'd be thinking about. It's like, I don't understand. That's not a worm. That's a little flying, annoying pest. Okay. This was film made by Bailey. Bailey did a whole series of films about art and about different aspects of art, specifically texture, color, etc. So this is part of that series. And it looks real good. I only watched the first couple of seconds of it, but here we go. Here's Rhythm and Movement in Art. Enjoy.
Rhythm and movement are vital to life. Rhythm and movement are vital to art. Rhythm is a flow of movement which the artist selects and repeats to create a sense of life in his art. Movement becomes rhythm only when it is repeated. For the basis of all rhythm is repetition. There are many kinds of rhythmic, repeated movements to be discovered everywhere. We enjoy rhythmic activities. We feel the repeat. We also enjoy looking at rhythmic movement. Dancing is a rhythm of feet, heads, hands, and bodies. How does the artist create the feeling of movement in art when the art itself cannot move? Movement becomes rhythm when it is repeated. So the artist studies how movements repeat. He also notices how the repeated movement varies. Monet, the French impressionist, has captured the movement of rolling smoke and the bustle of a busy railroad station. Animal forms also are a source of rhythmic movement in art. An artist from India combined the rhythmic repetition of animals with the graceful movements of the man and his clothing.
An artist may develop rhythm by the way he applies his paint. Van Gogh has repeated curving brushstrokes to create a turbulent rhythm. Artists observe, but they do not copy what they see. They create their own rhythm. Line is one of the major elements used to create rhythm and movement in art. Curving lines can be rhythmic. The curve of the breaking wave inspired the Japanese artist Hokusai. As the large wave breaks, many smaller waves repeat the curve. Seurat, a 19th century impressionist, used repeated curves to capture the rhythmic movements of circus performers. If you follow the repeated curves of these arches, your eye moves along rhythmically. In addition to curving lines, straight lines and rectangular shapes can also create rhythm and movement in art. When straight lines are placed at angles to each other, the repeated diagonals become rhythmic. Dark and light is another major element the artist may use to create rhythm and movement in art. Variations may be light against dark or dark against light. You can discover rhythmic patterns of light and shadow everywhere. Color is still another major element the artist may use to create rhythm. This non-objective painting by Delaunay uses a rhythm of color and shape. Here, the painter uses rhythms of color and of shape. Color rhythms are created with irregular torn tissue in this collage. Form is also a major element. The artist may create shapes, surfaces, and planes that carry the eye around, along, and through the object. An object may be designed for pure rhythmic beauty, or it may be both beautiful and useful. How does the sculptor create a sense of rhythmic movement in his work? A sculpture which does not move often expresses a strong feeling of movement. The accent created by interrupted lines of direction increase the sense of movement. This sculptured fountain catches the graceful, repeated movement of birds in flight. Oriental sculpture frequently uses flowing curves, leading the eye from part to part in graceful, sweeping movements. African sculpture often uses strong, simple rhythms. Repetition, then, is the basis of rhythm. But what are the different kinds of repetition the artist may use? One simple kind of repetition is alternation. Left, right. Movement may alternate. Up, down, back, and forth. This is visual alternation. A black, a white. Light and a shadow may alternate to create rhythmic pattern. This is alternation of shape. Egg and dart, the famous Greek motifs. Here is another kind of repetition. Circles moving outward from a center. This is called radial repetition. Living things often grow outward from a center. Fanning out is a variation of radial rhythm. Radial repetition may be used to create circular rhythms in art. Many radial examples can be discovered. The spiral is another kind of radial repetition, flaring out from a center in an expanding, growing curve. The spiral has inspired artists in all times. Repetition may be regular or irregular. To create a rhythm of irregular repetition, we use accent. Accent is emphasis. It is repeated variation. Accent may be a change in brightness. Pink, pink, red. Accent may be a change of shape. Round, round, square. Long, short, short, short. Or thin to thick brush strokes may create accent. Exciting irregular rhythms can be heard and seen. There is rhythmic repetition with accent in nature. The entire shell is rhythmic, and so are its parts. The small curves create a rhythm varied with dark and light accents. The repetition of these curling leaves is accented by differences in shape and position. Most rhythms in nature tend to be irregular. Throughout history, rhythm and movements in nature and the movements of people have inspired artists of all times and places. The repeated heads and arm movements of these Egyptian figures lead our eyes rhythmically. A Greek artist caught the movement of galloping horses. Feel the rhythm in this African mask. In Oriental art, like all art, we see repetition skillfully varied to avoid monotonous movement. The arts of our time express rhythm in many ways. In the graphic arts today, artists such as Joseph Albers create completely imaginative rhythms. Architects may design rhythmic buildings which please us. We see and feel the repetition. Powerful rising repeats create the characteristic rhythm of Gothic architecture. These graceful towers were designed by the modern architect Yamasaki. Corbusier's church in France is a contemporary masterpiece of rhythmic form. Severe, simple curves were employed by Frank Lloyd Wright in the New York Guggenheim Museum. For pure, imaginative, rhythmic design, few can compare with Gaudí, the Spanish architect. In one of the major arts of today, motion pictures, rhythm and movement can be created with light and color. Designs in motion take the eye on a rhythmic adventure. We learn about rhythm and movement by discovering repetition. We can also learn about rhythm by creating with many materials. In art, rhythm can move the eye in various ways. By repeating and varying curves. By using radial and spiral movements. By repeating straight lines and shapes. Through the use of angular movements and through any combination of straight, angular, and curved shapes of dark or light. Or the artist may create color rhythms through skilled repetition. Rhythm is vital to life. Rhythm and movement are vital to art. Rhythm is a flow of movement which the artist organizes and repeats to create a sense of life in his art.
Yikes. Yeah, that could have been half as long. It would have relayed a lot of the information. We have it in 2 parts because, yeah, that went on entirely too long. Visually stunning, interesting content, but boy, yeah, it got tedious at the end. What I would like to know about is The World That Nature Forgot. Who is this film by? Let's figure it out together. Enjoy.
This is the story of a new world. A world that begins in the mysterious and invisible universe of atoms and molecules, which combine in countless numbers to form everything we see and touch. It is the story of how man, investigating nature, has learned from nature's examples to join these same atoms and molecules to form substances never before seen under the sun. These new materials are the world of plastics, the world that nature forgot. The story of plastics may begin with something as familiar and as wonderful as a phonograph record. But it is a story that has no end, for the future of the world of plastics is far beyond the vision of man, and still hidden in the world that nature forgot. In the world of nature, air is the breath of life, sweeping gently and sometimes harshly over the weathered face of the land. Air and water, undulating ceaselessly to form the ever-changing and changeless face of the sea, warming and evaporating to rise in the air, to be borne by air in graying clouds, often for thousands of miles, only to fall again to nourish the land with gentle rain. And afterward, in ever-growing torrents, the waters return to the sea once more. The world of nature needs air and water, and it needs the minerals of the earth, which air and water slowly leach away from its ageless crust. Plants need all these things: air, water, minerals from the earth. And to grow upward, they need the energy of the fiery sun. To gather water and minerals, they send roots deep into the ground. From the tap roots, branches spring out to search the soil and absorb its nourishment. And as the plant draws strength from the earth, it breaks the surface and feels for the first time the light of day. As it grows, a plant spreads its leaves to take in air and absorb sunlight. Through tiny veins in the stem of the plant, water and minerals gathered by the probing roots flow upward to the leaves and are carried by other veins out into the leaf cells. Through dark-rimmed pores in the leaf, the plant draws in carbon dioxide from the air which meets with the water and minerals in other leaf cells. Using energy from the sun, the plant synthesizes these molecules into ever longer ones, strands which form the fabric of bark and leaves and cells. Thus, from the inanimate crust of the earth comes the living world of nature. And from the world of nature comes the world of man, who has built his homes with the great trees of the forests. Man has taken the very fibers of nature, like those of cotton, and learned to weave them for his comfort. Digging deep into the crust of the earth, he has found metals for tall buildings and long bridges, and minerals like sand for the windows of his homes. In mills that stretch across the land, he forms and fashions and molds nature to his purposes. And in nature, he found the power for these factories, the power of long dams that interrupt the waters as they rush to return to the sea, dams that exploit the descent of the waters to turn turbines and generate electricity for the dynamos of the city. From all these elements of nature, man has built his cities and his civilization. And in building his world, man has found a completely new power, the power of gleaming chemical plants, which, like the growing plants of the fields, take in nature's simple molecules and change them into new molecules, which form substances never before seen under the sun. These new materials constitute the world of plastics, a world which begins, like the world of nature, with air drawn into great ducts and passed through a maze of pipes. And the world of plastics takes water, used as steam and then condensed in massive cooling towers to fall like rain and nourish the plant again. And it takes fire instead of the sun to forge new molecules from air and water and chemicals. Chemicals which are drawn from the earth and stored and have names like benzene, methane, and propane. Abstract patterns in pipe, like the delicate veins in the leaf of a plant, bring the materials together. Red and yellow pipes for chemicals. Aluminum for steam. Dozens of high-speed pumps and compressors move them at the right time and the right speed. Monitoring the whole plant are men, ever watchful men, who make their rounds to take samples of the molecules forged in fire, and to watch the instruments which read the pulse of the plant. And finally, it takes the towers, tall towers that reach up to the sky to distill the basic molecules from which plastics are made. Substances that are shipped out in tank cars and bear names like styrene, vinyl chloride, acrylonitrile, simple molecules that must now be linked to form the fibers of a solid substance. Unloaded at the processing plant, the materials are piped into storage tanks. Then they enter the plant and are piped into kettles, where under heat and pressure, the simple molecules link together to form the long strands of a plastic material. Some plastics, like phenolics, flow from kettles as a thick liquid, which is allowed to harden. Then they can be reheated to form TV cabinets, telephones, or the nose of an anti-aircraft shell. Others, like vinyl, emerge as tiny grains to be dried in heated cylinders. Heavy hammers jaw loose the powder that sticks to the walls within. Once dried, the powder goes to a screener. Flowing from the screener, the vinyl may be used to make raincoats or shower curtains. Styrene mixed with colorants in a blender can be given every color of the rainbow. The mixture passes downward to a heated cylinder where plastic and colorant melt together. Forced from the cylinder through a series of openings, the styrene emerges in thin rods which pass through water, cool, and solidify again. The rods are chopped into colored pellets, which the manufacturer can melt and mold to form modeled trains or phonograph records. So new and unexplored is the world of plastics that its future and its possibilities are only vague and colorful forms in the minds of men. The materials can have an infinite variety of color and shape, and for each a use. But only the coast of this new world has been touched. The rest is uncharted, and so filled with promise that no man dare predict what will be found there. Today, the artisans and architects of that world are just beginning to mix their paints, and the picture that will finally emerge has barely been started. A world in the making, all achieved by linking together a few simple molecules. A few simple molecules made from hazy, even simpler atoms. Atoms that move endlessly. Carbon atoms and pairs of hydrogen atoms. Simple ingredients for a world as lovely as the world of nature. Simple ingredients for a world as promising as the world of plastics. One of the most basic molecules is ethylene, formed from hydrogen and carbon. Ethylene is the basis of many other plastics, a molecule which in other industries is used to make alcohols and other chemicals. In the plastics industry, ethylene molecules are heated, move faster, and fuse together, forming the long strands of the plastic polyethylene, which is used for squeeze bottles, pipelines, and packaging materials. When pairs of chlorine atoms react with ethylene molecules, a new substance is formed, vinyl chloride. And as these molecules form chains, they give another plastic, polyvinyl chloride. A brittle material, vinyl becomes a useful plastic when a substance called a plasticizer is added. Slipping between the long strands, the plasticizer acts as a lubricant, allowing the molecules to slide over one another and form a flexible material. Another common chemical is benzene. When benzene reacts with basic ethylene, the result is styrene, a clear liquid used in making synthetic rubber. And when styrene molecules join, they form polystyrene, one of the most versatile plastics, useful for housewares, toys, and radio cabinets. A few simple atoms, a little heat, an endless amount of research, an inexhaustible variety of different plastics, and a brand new world. The final forming of almost any plastic requires heat and pressure. But depending on the plastic, the way these are applied will differ. One such process is calendering. Vinyl is hard until mixed with a plasticizer, which makes it flexible. Hitting the hot mixing rollers, it turns to gum and is kneaded like dough. The thick strip first formed passes to other rollers, which press it into an ever thinner and ever wider sheet. Finally, the thin vinyl film is rolled up like ordinary cloth for raincoats, wall covering, and upholstery. This process may one day yield a continuous ribbon of highway material. Heat and pressure are also used for injection molding, by which such products as refrigerator door panels are formed. Once the panel has been removed, the halves of the mold close again, and the plunger forces more hot styrene into the mold. Injection molding is indispensable for industrial items like air conditioning grids and acid-holding battery cases formed of inert styrene. A multitude of other items flows from compression molding, in which materials like phenolics are melted and pressed into form as the hot mold closes. From such plastics come light and durable radio cabinets, or the noses of anti-aircraft shells, or washing machine agitators that must withstand the heavy wetness of clothes. In vacuum forming, the molds are perforated by tiny holes, and a vacuum is applied from beneath. The heat of an electric grid softens the sheet of styrene, and the vacuum draws it over the mold to form funnels. Used on a larger scale, vacuum forming may one day produce whole sections of automobiles. Foamed plastic is one of the newest in a family known as urethanes, foam which can be as rigid as plywood or as soft as a pillow. Unlike most plastics, urethanes require no external heat to set, but foam as they are mixed and poured. When the basic chemicals flow onto a moving form for actual production, the urethane swells and whitens into foam. This foam can be used for fire-resistant and weight-saving cushions for airplanes. In solid form, urethanes may one day yield 100,000-mile automobile tires. Versatile in themselves, plastics are also invaluable in combination with other materials, such as glass fiber, which can be shredded and sprinkled over a mold to form a crude mat. The mat is welded together into a solid mass when a polyester plastic flows among the fibers and hardens under pressure to hold the fibers fast. The result? A finely formed salad bowl. Such reinforced plastics can also form car bodies or swimming pools. Because plastics can hold flexible materials in a rigid shape, they can form durable laminates. Such laminates, called sandwiches, can begin with a sheet of plastic laid in a mold. The strength of the sandwich comes from strips of pliable honeycomb material. A final layer completes the laminate. Heat will weld it to the honeycomb and hold it in a rigid shape. These inexpensive laminates are now being used for many airplane and ship components. Even paper or a veneer of beautiful wood can form a tough laminate when impregnated with melamine and drawn upward through a dryer. The surface layers of these laminates can be colorful and can be printed in patterns. To hold the visible surface sheets, impregnated undersheets are stacked up like cards and the surface sheet laid on top of them. A polished mirror will impart its smooth finish to the sandwich. Once it has been heated in an oven and the plastic melts to fuse the layers together, forming a laminated tabletop or wall paneling. So strong are the adhesive qualities of plastics that they can weld together long planks into beams of a size never contemplated. giving wood a versatility it never had before. Such beams built up from layers of welded wood can form the vault of a church or great arches to support a bridge. Clamped together, the planks are grasped by the plastic, and only disintegration of the wood can separate them again. Here again, plastics become a partner of another material, in this case giving new strength to one of the oldest of all materials, wood. Durable monuments for the enduring works of man. In a world as flexible as the world of plastics, the durability is easily translated into a transparent film like polyethylene. Tough and inert, polyethylene can be extruded as a continuous thick coating for an Atlantic cable. Extruded as a thin film, it can form moisture-retaining vegetable bags. Stretched and cooled, the film is wound on a drum to be cut into bags by the manufacturer. Like polyethylene, acrylic fibers such as acrylan are extruded. They emerge as clean white filaments. Wet from the bath in which the plastic has solidified, the filaments must first be stretched and dried. Gathered together and crimped to give them the crinkles of natural fiber, the filaments move on through guides and rollers. A clean white, they can be dyed any color. Then the fibers descend like a downward rushing river to be chopped into short pieces. Afterward, they are rolled into fine, light, fluffy lengths, a material which now must be twisted and tightened to form a tough yarn. Wound on bobbins, the yarn is then woven into cloth. Though light in weight, synthetic fibers can have the tensile strength of steel, a strength that can be demonstrated in the laboratory. Looped about a steel couple, a nylon filament draws upward against the resistance of a steel wire of equal thickness. Thread and wire grow thin with tension. And suddenly, the graft drops to zero. The steel wire has broken, and the couple swings from the nylon thread. Toughness is also important in a plastic that forms the meat of the safety glass sandwich for a car's windshield or window. While some materials must withstand a moment of shock, others must be prepared for the constant attrition of more leisurely movement. Many plastics are excellent insulators, but only prolonged high-voltage tests can reveal their resistance. Plastics can be molded under a variety of temperatures and pressures, but under some conditions they develop unseen stresses. Polarized light reveals these stresses in patterns of color, enabling scientists to select conditions that produce stress-free products. Colors seen under polarized light may see the light of day, when in paint they are subjected to the rigid test of exposure to the elements. Today, plastics are an integral part of most paints and surface coatings. These are the acid tests of a vision of a world of plastics. A world that has already penetrated every home in the land. Today we can see a part of this world in beautiful draperies, in stainless tabletops that are so useful they are commonplace, in radios, in durable floor tiles, or a refrigerator that is clean and neat and colorful. It appears in containers that reveal their contents, in packages that keep fruit and vegetables from losing their flavor and moisture. But above all, it appears in beauty, in patterns of black and gold and silver. For more and more, America's top designers are turning to these adaptable materials. Embedded in them, the beauty of wood is preserved. In a chair formed of them, the comfort of a night's reading is assured. The new materials protect a man's clothing when he is home, and they can also guard it when he travels. In the household of today, they are present everywhere, preserving man's memory of nature in panels of wood, preserving his memory of himself and his desires and his hopes in the fine grooves of a phonograph record. And as a man works, they surround him like the servants of another age. The world of plastics is present everywhere. Yet this presence is but a premonition of a future world. Our children will see a bit of that world, and our grandchildren will not see the end of it. A part of the home, plastics are also a part of the world of the scientists and engineers who think about the other side of tomorrow. Injected into a heart, a liquid plastic fills the myriad vessels which nourish it. And after the tissue has been dissolved away, the plastic furnishes a complete map of that great organ's circulation. In the strange and vital field of atomic energy, the new materials protect scientists from the danger of deadly radioactive dust. Dust generated by the experiments carried out in sealed rooms, which nevertheless must be entered to determine the results of the experiment. And engineers who dream of cars and turbines to power them instinctively think of plastics for their bodies. And even when man ventures under the sea, these materials go with him, forming today the shell of a two-man submarine, and tomorrow possibly the body of a storm-free undersea ship. Such things can only suggest the future. It has taken thousands of years to learn how to handle wood, copper, and iron. And now there are new materials which never before existed, whose names, styrene, vinyl, polyethylene, are still unfamiliar. All of them will help build the city of tomorrow. Lacking 1,000 years' experience, we do not know what form this city will take. For who can foretell a future dominated by the inquisitive spirit of man? Yet like every city man ever built, it will be a city of nature shaped by man. A city of wood and stone and steel and concrete. But in addition, it will be a city transformed by man and his chemistry, and by the new materials that flow from the plants with the tall towers and the colorful pipes. A city built from the world that nature forgot.
That footage was so beautiful, but oh my gosh, the long tail of plastics. Holy cow. Oh, and we'll just inject plastics into this heart. So we can see where all the arteries are, all the veins are. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. I love me some assembly line footage, and that one suit, which was the giant plastic suit that was connected to the guy. I think you see the similar suit in Andromeda Strain. Kind of a clean room suit. Love that. Would love to have something like that. Would love to not have to need something like that. But there you go. And I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. It's allergy season here. I'm going to sneeze. Can't. Oh, that's really frustrating. I can't sneeze. Ugh. All right. I'll make this happen after the show. Anyways, thanks for complaining about the ads. YouTube turned that on. And I didn't know. So I'm going to now, that's one more thing I have to check when I'm doing a live streaming show. I will add ads after the fact, but while we're streaming live, there's no reason for that. You guys showed up. I don't want to expose you to ads, except for ads for what we do. And that's the only thing. Excuse me. I still have to feel like I have to sneeze. You can use the super thanks button as a way to donate and help us pay for the hard drive that we just spent $500 on. You can also use patreon.com. That's kind of a tip jar subscription thing. You can Venmo us the cash directly or buy us coffee at ko-fi.com/avgeeks. But also share what we're doing and contribute. At some point my hair will grow long enough where I can get a haircut, but right now it's still kind of in this weird proto stage. And I still feel like I have to sneeze. Alright, I'm going to end this so I can, I don't know, tickle the roof of my mouth or something. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It might not be live because we're going to be moving films. So we'll see how that works out. Anyways, I will see you soon.